Why entrepreneurs fail. That's going to be the subject I try to tackle here in 10 minutes or far less. Hopefully I'll get this done in less than 10 minutes. But I've got some important things to say about this. First of all, there is no one reason. And yet, if I had to say the main reason why entrepreneurs fail, and looking back at the people I've worked with and I've known, it would be a few things. First of all, they give up too soon. And, study the lives of all of the most successful entrepreneurs, and you'll see that they tried and failed and tried and failed and tried and failed and tried and failed, and ultimately they hit it big. I saw some study one time that said the average entrepreneur has failed 4.5 times, whatever that means. Maybe it just means they started a bunch of different businesses that didn't work out until ultimately they started the right one that did work out. So they just gave up too soon. I think that's one reason. My first business partner, who was my best friend at the time, he was an amazing entrepreneur. Now, I started my first business with him in December of '85. His name was Gary, and he was my very best friend. And we didn't stay best friends, I can tell you that. 9 months later, the whole business dissolved. I kept the company name, and we split some of the equipment up. So we had 2 trucks at that time. He took one, I took one. He moved to another town. Our friendship dissolved over that business. But the bottom line is, he was an amazing entrepreneur. But why did it all dissolve? And this is just my side of the story. I'm sure Gary would tell you his own side. But my side of the story, he could not sustain it. He couldn't sustain it. On the short term, he was like one of those rockets that, uses up all of its energy just on the takeoff and then has no more fuel left. That's my side of the story. I mean, when Gary was on, he was on. I mean, I've seen maybe a dozen really, really, really superstar entrepreneurs that are super talented. Well, Gary was one of them. And of course, I got to witness it all. First and foremost, when we started, we were dead broke. By the way, he just got out of prison. Now, don't take that wrong. Please don't take that wrong. He was in prison for some stupid thing. He wasn't a criminal, but Gary would tell you he was in prison for 18 months for some really stupid thing, which maybe I'll tell you that story someday. But the man was fresh out of prison. That's the point. And I was cleaning carpets. And for another guy, I was doing carpet and upholstery cleaning and carpet dyeing, and so Gary got out of prison. I took him out for breakfast, and I was pretty excited about the carpet cleaning business. Gary said, "Let's do it." Well, I was broke, and I was even homeless at the time because this woman I was with, I had broke up with her, and I was sleeping on friends' couches. I was homeless. I wasn't like living under a bridge or anything like that. I always had couches to sleep on. I had lots of friends back then, and I have lots of friends now. So, but I was homeless at the time. I was sleeping on some friends. I was sleeping on their couch, and I had just broke up with this gal. And Gary just said, he's fresh out of prison. He said, let's start our own carpet cleaning business. And I didn't have any cash. I was spending it as fast as I was making it. But that didn't stop Gary. We made it happen. And 9 months later, we had 2 sets of equipment. We had 2 vans, and we had uniforms, all that kind of stuff. Nothing could stop this guy on the short term. But ultimately, he could not sustain it. Very talented guy. Like one of those supernova kinds of things, they burn out fast. They burn brightly, but they burn out fast. A lot of entrepreneurs are like that. Now, I think that relates very closely to another thing. I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs fail because the qualities that it takes to go out there and start something, and then the qualities it takes to sustain it and build it and grow it over a period of time are opposite qualities. So every strength is a weakness. Now just remember that and think about that, because God knows I've been thinking about it ever since I learned that whole concept decades ago. If somebody is really, really, really strong in one area, which most people aren't, most people are just kind of half-assed at everything, but when somebody's really, really, really good in one area, like entrepreneurs are or can be, then it's also there's a corresponding weakness there. So entrepreneurs are visionaries. We're great at coming up with ideas. We're bold in our thinking. That in the beginning, all of that energy, just like I told you about my first business partner, that tremendous energy that Gary had, where nothing could stop him. Nothing could stop him. We started that carpet and upholstery cleaning business in the dead of winter, where it's the worst season for that business. It was right around the holiday times in 1985 too. Right around Thanksgiving and Christmas, everybody's mind was all focused on that. Didn't stop us. We got into these senior citizen towers, these little apartments for all these senior citizens, and we started working it, man. We worked it all that winter, and we did all kinds of things. We did whatever it took. But then Gary just couldn't sustain it in the end, and in the end, he wanted to screw off way too much. This is my side of the story. He wanted to screw off way too much while I did all the work. That's my side now. And Gary, if you're ever listening to this, that's just my take on it. And ultimately, I didn't like the idea that I was working when he was with his girlfriend all the time, and swimming out, just taking the day off and all this stuff while I was working. And then I had to give him a piece of my money. That's my side of the story, and I'm sticking to it. But the bottom line is, a lot of entrepreneurs can't sustain it. They can't build a team. They're not easy to work with. I know I'm not. I'm extremely difficult to work with at times. As I get older, I kind of mellow out a little bit, because I value the qualities that it takes to build and sustain a business, which is the management side of it. The stuff that just bores the crap out of me is the stuff that really makes a business after you get it off the ground and get it launched and all that kind of stuff. So they can't build a team. They can't get along with people. They don't value some of the day-to-day minutia part of the business. And in the end, they just give up. They quit trying. And, I want you to realize that, well, look, one of the things that has helped me so much is studying the biographies of successful people. And I'm a reader, so I love it. I just love a good biography, a business biography, or a story of a superstar entrepreneur. I've studied these people, and I've seen in the years of their life, as their story unfolds, I've seen a tremendous amount of pain and struggle and adversity and setbacks, and I've seen all of that in their stories. And the only people that really know that are the people like me that study their stories. Because to the rest of the world, it was just a rise to the top. There wasn't that roller coaster. There wasn't those peaks and valleys. The pain and disappointment and suffering that these people had to go through is not known to the average person, nor does the average person even care about such a thing. Like I've said many times with my own story to my own clients, I've said, look, I've made millions and millions of dollars. That's the part of my story you know. You don't know the other side of the story, which is the millions and millions and millions I've lost over the years by just doing stupid things, by making terrible mistakes. But they don't want to hear that part of the story. I mean, nobody does, except for somebody that's serious about making it, which I'm hoping that, and I'm assuming that you might be. So be willing to go to the dark places that your success takes you. Be willing to stick it out. So many entrepreneurs just can't sustain it in the end, and the way to sustain it is to build a team. You've got to work through other people. And once the business gets started, you basically have to hand it over to them. And these have to be people that are talented in all kinds of ways that you're not talented, and they have to be people that you can trust. Because one of the ways I've lost millions of dollars is by having people with me. I'm the great abdicator, and I've abdicated it to people I can't trust. So I know some of this just sounds like common sense, but think it through and strive to be that entrepreneur that makes it in the end. God bless you. Thank you for listening. I hope this has helped. Bye for now.